Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Gus Tucker here at Financial Freedom Friday. How's your day going? How's your day going? Tell me. I know it's around that tax time. How y'all doing out there in tax land? You excited about your taxes or not? I was just talking to a friend of mine, and they weren't that excited about their tax situation. Why? Because they're going to have to pay. Tax planning is very important. Have a financial professional working with you and your tax person to do tax planning. So you know at the beginning of the year where you're going to end up at the end of the year, and no surprises. No, like, oh my goodness, this is the situation I'm in. How did I get here? Okay. So please get with your tax professional, get with your financial professional, have them work together on a plan so that you're where you want to be. I'm bringing that up just because of a recent conversation I had with a friend of mine, and I really want to see her win financially. So we're going to get her planning ahead for taxes. Okay. So hey, subscribe and like on the on this show. Share it with folks, and let's make it happen this year. 2024, guys. 2024 is here. We're deep into it now. January, February, March, it's April. Are you hitting your financial goals? Are you hitting your financial goals that you set for 2024? How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Let me know. How's it going? Send me some comments. What would you like to change? What would you like to change? So, you know what? It's the end of the basketball season. You guys watch basketball? But the season just ended. Now they're going into the playoffs. And when you get into the playoffs, the games change. And the games become more intense. They become more focused. And you have to play the same team over and over and over again in a series. So what happens is that what you're good at is emphasized by you, and what you're bad at is emphasized by the other team, and they game plan to try to beat you. And you can't hide over a 7-game series. Who you are really comes out. Who really is the best tends to win out. In a 1-game series, you might get lucky. But in a 5-game, 7-game series, no, you're not going to get lucky. Life is much longer than a 7-game series. Okay. It lasts 60, 70, 80, 90 years. And your habits, you can't wing it and win. Doesn't work. Just got out of a training with my pastor, and we're talking about some leadership principles. And he did an excellent job on this training. And the bottom line is you can't wing it. And one of the comments he made is that what you do out of sight makes all the difference. That's one of the areas I'm working on. In other words, the preparation you do for leadership prepares you for when you're in sight, when people can see you. Okay? What you do out of sight for your finances will make all the difference for what shows up in your life. You got to spend the time out of sight, okay, on information like we talk about on this show. It's not sexy sometimes, it's not fun, but man, it makes all the difference in the world, okay? So let's get into this real quick and knock this out. We got about 25 minutes to go. All right, so we're going to bring up this presentation. There we go. Put it on make it big on the screen. Okay, now, create an economic environment to empower Black Americans and African Americans, and really all people to thrive. So this is for you, okay? And every month is Black History Month. Black folk are making history every day. You know what I'm saying? So every month is Black History Month, and y'all out there doing it. We out there doing it, making it happen. So what you see is from where you sit. Perspective makes all the difference. Who taught you about money? Who taught you about money? Was it your parents? They were one of the first ones. Was it your classmates at school? Was it something on TV you saw? Who taught you about money? Where you sit and how you look at money and how you handle it, you were taught. Now, we got to evaluate that and see if it's giving you the results you want. So everybody, this is a commercial. We talked about trauma and mental health. I kind of tweaked it a little bit and said money trauma. What do you mean money trauma? Have you done some things with money, or things you didn't do with money, or things that were done to you with money, or things you wish you would have done or should have had happen or didn't happen? Like my friend I was talking to, they got their tax bill and they're like, I didn't ask that person this, but if I were to go back and say, was that traumatic when you got that tax bill? You know what they'd probably say? Yeah, it was traumatic. Because then I start thinking about either I got to wipe out part of this account to pay for that, or I got to do some kind of payment plan or something like that. I didn't plan on paying them people that amount of money. What the heck? That was traumatic. First time you as a kid asked your parent for something and they told you you couldn't have it. We don't have money for that. We don't have money budgeted for that or whatever. Can be traumatic if that happens over and over and over again. If you don't save money or invest money and you don't have the money to do what you want to do with, that can be traumatic. And it causes you to look at life a certain way. You ever heard things like money don't grow on trees? Another day, another. Why is it only $1? Why isn't it $1,000, $1 million in a day? Huh? Time is money. No, it's not. Time is way more important than money. Well, why do you say that? Well, let me ask you this. If you were going to die tomorrow, but I had a cure that was guaranteed to pay, that if you paid for it, I would give it to you and you would live. So if it cost $1 million, would you do it? If it cost all the money you had, would you do it? Yeah, people on their deathbed would give all the money they had to keep living. So what's more important, time or money? You already know. So, money trauma in your past. Who taught you about money? How did life teach you about money? Are there things you've done with your money that you wish you hadn't done? They're usually around spending and getting into debt or buying something that didn't pan out. Are there things you didn't do with your money that you wish you would have? How long have you been working? How long have you been working or owning your business or whatever? How much money have you made on average every year or in total? So just start at 10%. If you had 10% of that money you've made in your whole entire work time, how much money would that be? If you had 20%, if you had 30% of that right now, how much money would you have? Now, how much money do you actually have when you compare it to that? Do you like that number? Yes or no? No, you don't like that number? Guess what we got to do? Something different. Something different. Did you get an inheritance when your parents passed away or when you reached a certain age? Did you get an inheritance or a trust fund? Let me ask you a question. Why should every generation start at zero? If I build a plan 40, 50, 60 years, and then I have kids, why should they start at zero and I not leave them anything after all those years? And they start at zero. Does that make sense to you? We don't even think about it, but it creates a certain perspective about money, and whether you know it or not, you got money trauma. And it causes you to act certain ways around and about money and to have weird thoughts about it. So money trauma in you right now. Is money working for you right now? Money trauma in your future. Do you have hope that your future is going to be better than your past? And do you have a plan for that to happen? Now look, financial suicide is never the answer. Okay, so don't do financial suicide, which just means you make some abnormal or poor decisions going forward in the future. Don't do that. Share your burden with somebody else where you're at financially, and develop some accountability around money so you can begin to do things differently than you're doing right now. Why do we use mirrors? Or you use your phone to look back at your face? Why do you do that? Because without that help, you can't really see what's going on with you, can you? And see, we're the ones that got us into our situation. We're not going to be the ones that get us out. Because the same thinking it took to get us into the situation is not going to get us out of the situation. Okay? So you need to find somebody that you can share your financial burdens with, your financial concerns with, and get a plan to get out of it. Encourage you to find a financial professional you can do that with. Okay? Now, this is important. He brings this up every week. Yes. Because every week you're still here. And every week that you're here, I want you to have thought about and got a handle on why you're here. Everybody that can hear my voice, I believe, was put on this planet for a purpose. Okay? Everybody's got a worldview. So you've got one, I've got one. Here's mine. We could talk about it. Okay? I'm not saying you have to have this as a worldview, but what's yours? How's it working? God created you before the foundation of the world, and he had a plan for you when he created you. It's like the creator is the one who built success into the product. Every product that was created with success in mind and to serve a certain problem, right? We're on a service right now that allows me to be in one city, the person who's producing this show's in another city, and you're all over the country. Why is that? Because someone was fruitful and multiplied, filled the earth, subdued it, and ruled it. What do you mean? They're fruitful. So built into that person that created this system was the ability to do that, or to organize people to think about how they could project images and sound across airwaves for other people for the purpose of entertainment, education, medical practice, for in a myriad of different ways. Are the people who came up with the StreamYards, the Zooms, and all these kind of companies, are they doing okay? Yes. Because they're being fruitful. In other words, the seed that was built in them to understand engineering and technology and those things, they've used it. They've duplicated, they've multiplied it and duplicated it and filled the earth with it and created a certain amount of control of their environment through what they did, and they're able to rule. That's how you create value. You have to be a certain thing and then do a certain thing, and then you'll have. So being is about knowing who you are. Do you have a good handle on your skill sets, your assets, your mindsets? and how to create value with them. That's the being part. Then are you doing the things necessary to make that happen? So that's where this cash flow quadrant comes in, where you have employee, business owner, employee, self-employed, business owner, investor. We talk about this, and I bring it up every week. Why? Because many of you have a cash flow problem. You're not making enough money. The reason you're not making enough money is you're not creating enough value by what you do. And so you got a value proposition problem. Most people that make 100 grand in a year, and I know the first time I did that was in the 80s, late 80s. Okay, 100 grand is not the same as it was back then. Okay, but only 6% of Americans, individuals, make 100 grand a year. 6%. Okay, and most of the people who do that are in some sort of sales or communication business. Okay, why is that? Topic for another discussion. So if I said sales to you, if I said sales, what does sales mean to you? What does it mean? And is it a positive image when I say sales? Or is it, oh God, here's how we think about sales. When you go into a store and the salesperson says, can I help you? What's your knee-jerk reaction? No, I can find it. I'm okay. Unless you go to that store every day and you know where everything is, even when they change what's in the store, you need some help finding stuff. Why do we say no right away? Because we don't want nobody trying to sell us nothing. We have a negative connotation about what sales is. How would you feel if I called you a salesperson? Would you feel offended? Would you want to be called something else? What's a salesperson? A salesperson is somebody who finds out what your needs are and then puts you in a position to have your needs met by a product or service that they have. Salespeople are also helpers. They're not trying to get you to buy something you shouldn't buy or you don't need to buy. They're trying to get you to buy something that's going to meet the needs you have to solve your problem. That's what a great salesperson does. Here's what I'm seeking to sell you on, so to speak. Having a plan for your finances and being educated about it so you can win financially. So you don't get a tax bill that scares the bejesus out of you and freaks you out a little bit. So you don't come to the end of your life and you don't have the money you want to reach your goals. Or you're not able to provide for your family the way you want to. So again, what's your plan for increasing your cash flow in 2024? We're 4 months in. We're 4 months in. The clock's ticking. What's your plan? Okay? What's your plan? Now, I talked about this a little bit when we were together before. And I asked the question, when do people start falling behind in terms of saving for retirement? When do people start falling behind when it comes to saving for retirement? What age do you think that is? Most of the time I get 20, 30 years old or something like that. But it's actually at birth. People start falling behind. At birth. Gus, how is that even possible? How is that even possible? Look at this diagram. Let's say you're at 65 years old. You want $5,000 a month coming in today's dollars. $5,000 a month, which is about 60 grand a year, to come in no matter what. Mailbox money, so you can live your life. Okay, we're just taking $5 grand. That's 60,000 a year after taxes. So before taxes, it's probably 80,000. Okay, but let's just say it's 60,000 after taxes. If you were going to get that based on an investment, you would need about $1.5 million out there, because you take 4% of that, and some people will say it should be even less than that, 3%. You take 4% of that, and that's your 60 grand. Okay, so let's just say you need 1.5 million. That's 65. How much do I have to save to get there? Good question. So let's play with it. At 65, you need 1.5 million. See that? Now, there's a rule, just in numbers. It's called the rule of 72. That if you take an interest rate and divide it into 72. So I'm saying the S&P 500, the top 500 companies in America over time, we're saying they grow at about 8%. You'll see 9%, you'll say 10%. I'm being conservative, saying 8%. At 8%, you divide 72 by 8 and you get 9. That means every 9 years, whatever money you have invested will double. That's if they hit 8% every year. Now, is that ever going to happen? No. It goes up, it goes down, it's higher, it's lower. But this is just to kind of give you a ballpark to see how it works. And we've got calculators where you can plug in actual numbers that have happened in the stock market to kind of give you a more realistic. But nobody can predict the future, or one person can, and they're not telling. You can't predict the future. So you try to give yourself best guesses, okay? So if at 65 you need 56, at 65 you need $1.5 million, and we're going to get 8% return. That means our money's going to double every 9 years. If we subtract 9 from 65, we get 56. At 56, you need $750,000. And you just keep going back. Find your age or what's close to your age. How old are you? How old are you? I need to ask my friend who had the tax situation how old they are. So I don't remember. But somewhere between 20 and 29, I think. So they need between 46,875 and 93,750 saved for retirement right now to be on track for having 60 grand when you're 65. When you're 2 years old, you need to have 12 grand. How many 2-year-olds have 12 grand in the bank for them? Invested for them. How many 2-year-olds? Well, when you're minus 7 years old, 7 years before you get here, you need 6 grand already saved to your name. So 7 years before you were thought about, you need to have 6 grand laying around attached to your name. So when are most people behind on their retirement? At birth. They're between 6 and 12 grand behind. So when you have a young baby, little baby, man, tell them to give you money for that baby. Not all them little clothes that get worn out and outgrown in like 3 months. Okay? So you see what I'm saying? So we need to have a game plan going forward for our future. Oh, I know. Social Security is going to take care of me. Average Social Security check is less than $3,000 a month. And in 2034, they're going to run out of money. So they're thinking Social Security is going to be reduced by maybe 10 to 20, 25%. So what if you were expecting like a $3,000 check and they cut it by 20, 25%? Now that's a $2,200 check. How far is that going to go in today's world? Come on now. Oh, it's a husband and wife. Okay. So instead of 6 grand, it's now 4,500. I'm just saying, we need to be talking about this stuff now. So what I suggest you do is some form of this financial discovery where you put down on paper what's going on with you financially, and you cover these areas. We call them the 8 financial breakthroughs. Other people may call them other things, but they're key areas of your finances you need to look at. Now, what's the purpose of this whole financial discovery? So we can get in your business. Yes, that's what it's for. Yeah. Okay. Um, prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. If you walked into a doctor's office and they just took a look at you and start telling you what kind of ailments you had and start prescribing procedures for you and medicines for you, you think that doctor was nuts. How can you know that without examining me, running some tests, getting some numbers, some data on me and what's going on with my body to even know that? Same with your finances. We got to get some information. How do we do that? We do that through the financial discovery process. You develop a plan that organizes the family's finances and cash flow to create a financially independent, debt-free family. Would you like to be that? Where you don't owe anybody any money? All you're paying for are your monthly expenses. You own your house, you own your car. You may use debt, but you use it for assets that are going to make you money, businesses, real estate, things like that. Now you have debt on those things, but personal debt, consumer debt, you don't have. Okay? So the goal is that sometime in the future, you've got that money sitting there that can create that passive income for you. But it's not going to happen without a plan. Okay? Do you know where you are right now? Do you know where you are right now? Now, you just did your taxes. You should kind of know what your income is, yes? Whatever it is, and it's so much a month. It's annual and month, okay? Then you've been through all your tax returns. What are you spending every month, and what are you spending it on? Are you use something like Rocket Money? That's what I use, Rocket Money. So when it's time to do taxes, it's real easy because all the deductions and everything is already caught in there, and they're already categorized. You just print out reports. So do you use something called like Rocket Money to be able to capture all your information so you can know what your expenses are? And on a monthly basis, are you running positive, negative, or about equal? And exactly what are you spending your money on? Are you going to get rich trying to cut your Disney Plus bundle and you're going to get rich? No, you're not going to get rich cutting your Disney bundle, right? And saving that money. You're not going to get rich doing that. But what you are going to get rich doing is by having the skill set of being able to look at data, the money you're spending, look at the behaviors of the person that's doing it, project whether that's going to get them to their goals or not, and then change your behavior. What's that called? Coaching. Behavioral change. That person will get rich that changes their habits. The purpose of this process is to show you your habits and have you look at them and not be able to run away from them. And then we're going to work on changing those habits. Does that make sense? And you're not going to see your habits. You need someone else to look at them with you and to point them out. Okay? To get those habits down. So these are some of the key habits of principal supply. We're going to stop here. We're going to pick it up from here next week. 1, spend less than you make. Save or invest 10% to be poor, 20% middle class, 30% wealthy. Get out of consumer debt. Have a minimum 3 sets of financial accounts. 0 to 1 year accounts, we have a minimum of 3 months living expenses for liquidity. 1 to 5 year accounts, where you have sub accounts for each goal. So you have an account for every major goal. I want to buy a house. Okay, where's your buy a house account? And what's your goal to have so much money in the buy your house account? I want to buy a new car account. I want to get married. I want to send my kids to college. We need an account for every one of them tied to that goal that you're putting money in. You need an account to leverage financial opportunities when they come up for opportunities. Okay? Then you got 5+ year accounts for your financial independence, your financial independence number. Question: do you have a handle on your cash flow? Yes or no? If you don't, let's get a handle on that. Okay? Do you have a savings and investing plan that's systematic? Do you have a get out of debt plan? And do you have plans, goals, accounts set up to reach your goals? Do you have that? If not, we got to get that in place like now. We need to do that now so we can make a change going forward. Okay? Now, why don't we do this? It goes back to the beginning. Trauma, financial trauma, and lack of education about this stuff. We've been beat up about money and how we handle money so much. What do I do? How do I make sense about all this? Get another person to be of assistance to you who can take an objective look at what you're doing and provide some insight and counsel. Okay? So let's make that happen where we understand where we are, our income versus expenses, where we're at, putting together a basic plan to save and invest consistently, a plan to get out of debt, and then these accounts set up for our goals. Got to get that done now, guys. We're into April. Okay? So, hey, Financial Freedom Fridays with Gus. It's good chatting with you. Let's get this ball down the road, okay? Okay. Like and subscribe. Tell other people. Reach out. Gus at fpneducative.com. Give me a holler. Take care, y'all. Bye.